Oh boy. Yeah.
That one was kind of confusing to read and to listen to.
I don't want to be mean about it.
I honestly think that, given that this was posted in 2013, I feel like it's like deliberately trying to parody Sonic.EXE.
Probably.
It's like you got the blue character, like splattered with blood, the black eyes, calling themselves God, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it felt like. I initially went into this wondering, why did they choose AirMan out of all characters to be the antagonist here? And then it got to the part where they shoved Wily through a giant fan, and I realized that's a terrifying way to die. So
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
A big issue I have with it is just that it's written like a screenplay, and I think that's actually more the intention for it. So I'm trying not to be too critical of that fact.
Yeah, like if you look at the description of this, the link we have here is to the DeviantArt page, and the user Sonic.EXe, and they say on here that it was written this way in case someone wanted to make a YouTube video, like production sort of thing out of it. And there's scattered throughout the entire thing, there's a bunch of like little asterisks with like little footnotes to explain some of the writing process. But even with those and taking that format into account, the writing was very broken at times. Like, it was kind of hard to read. It's like, Rio was doing his narration, I'm over here reading it alongside him, and I'm just like, that's not a sentence. That doesn't work.
Several sentences in a trench coat.
Yeah, several sentence fragments in a trench coat.
I really think it could be cool, like seeing a video too, because again, it was hard to read, but the descriptive direction for it wasn't bad.
It wasn't terrible. I will say it's also good that there wasn't like, they didn't mention hyper-realistic blood everywhere. I mean,
yeah,
the obvious bad part of it was, we actually cut this part out of the narration, but it says that the player died of a heart attack at the end. At least it wasn't a thing of like, you know, AirMan jumped out of the TV and killed him in the real world, like physically. I suppose dying in your sleep of a heart attack is possible, but it was said to be AirMan, be the one that took his soul. That's why part of me thinks that it's definitely meant to parody Sonic.EXE and those kind of creepypastas.
The main reason for the switch up with it as well was just the way it was written towards the end. It would have been impossible to read through a narration style just at all.
Right. And the way it's written, it does leave the character's identity ambiguous. It always says he or she in between things. So when we're reading it like this, it does kind of disrupt the flow just a little bit. So that's why we said they the entire time. Except a couple times in the story where it was actually written as he specifically. The writer does also mention this is a remake of the original, which I can't find the original anywhere, so we can't compare it. But one thing I find kind of interesting is that there actually is additional media to go with this, and it was included in the video itself. But there's like some screenshots, maybe not full screenshots, but like you have the selection screen, you have some sprites of this cursed AirMan. And honestly, I do feel like it was just trying to be a Mega Man equivalent parody to Sonic.EXE. And maybe the cheesiness and campiness of it was meant to be an homage. It was meant to be like a parody B-movie thing. Like, that was the intent behind it. That's what I got from it, at least.
So yeah, I guess just overall, just good bones. Just maybe not for this format.
Right. Same criticism I had for the AirMan.EXE creepypasta. The content isn't, you know, the worst thing ever, but it's the actual literal writing the words on paper or a screen that is what needs work. The wording, the phrasing. But aside from that, I think the concept itself was pretty alright for creepypastas of the time period.